Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Madison Books Tuesday Morning Storytime. Always glad to have you join us, and hope to see you in the store again soon. We're going to start off with a book today about heavy equipment. A lot of people's favorite. This is called Construction Site. It's by Jill McDonald. And it starts off with a bang. Clank, vroom, boom. What's that noise? We're at the construction site. Put on your hard hat and let's go see. Push. A bulldozer clears the land, moving rocks and rubble out of the way. Tracks around the wheels help it crawl on uneven ground. The dump truck hauls rubble away to a dumping site. The box at the back tilts to pour out all the things inside. Tip. Everything is cleared, and it's time for the excavator to do its work. Scoop. It has a long arm with a bucket on the end, which makes big holes in the ground. Munch, munch. It's time for lunch. The food truck has rolled up to the site, and everyone is hungry. What will you order? Roll, roll. The heavy drum on the steamroller slowly revolves, flattening everything below. Spin. What's in the back of this mixer? It's concrete. The large drum goes around and around to keep the concrete wet until it's ready to be poured out. Honk. The delivery truck arrives, stacked high with things the builders will need. How many wheels can you count? I think I know the number. Clank. A crane is used to lift heavy things and move them to the right spot. That long arm is called a boom. Beep. This little forklift can lift and move big boxes. We don't have boxes that big in the bookstore, but we do have boxes. Vroom. Dirt flies as the trencher digs pits for pipes and cables that will go underground. Woo woo! The whistle blows and the day is done. But the construction workers and their big machines will be back in the morning. They work hard. All right. We've got another one here from Jen Campbell, illustrated by Katie Hartnett, retelling the further adventures of Franklin and Luna, who we've met before. This one is called Franklin and Luna Go to the Moon. Luna loves stories. Stories make her world feel bright. She reads exciting adventures all night long, curled up with her tortoise, Neil Armstrong. There's Neil Armstrong on the pillow. Luna has a best friend called Franklin. Franklin isn't like her other friends at all. He's larger. He's greener. And sometimes when they're playing board games, he accidentally sneezes fluorescent blue flames. Oops. Luna and Franklin want to be explorers and visit the places they've read about in books. They've practiced map reading and even tried speaking in Mermish and gibberish and gobbledygook. They've read about mermaids and harpies and selkies, magical creatures that live in the wild. They've learned that fairies are naughty, ghosts are quite clumsy, werewolves take holidays by the seaside. I didn't know that. And dragons? Asks Luna. Where do they hide? I don't remember, Franklin says. I haven't seen any others. I've been searching a while. I'm 605. But where's your family? What's their address? Franklin pauses for thought. He scratches his head. I've got a third cousin who lives in Loch Ness. I've been sending her letters with little success. Luna suggests they go on an adventure to search for Franklin's family and explore the world together. On their journey, they find 20 Yetis eating spaghetti, 5 vampires reading Shakespeare, 2 giants playing chess, and poltergeists in fancy dress. Elves playing volleyball, nymphs with skipping ropes, tiny pixies throwing frisbees under microscopes, tooth fairies and ice cream trucks, witches baking cherry pie, disco dancing unicorns on roller skates. Oh my. Franklin and Luna collapse in a heap. They've looked high and low and in between, and now they've got sore feet. They've Googled Franklin's family tree. They've emailed a princess, but no one knows where dragons live. No one can even guess. Except Neil Armstrong clears his throat and points way up high. Luna grabs her telescope and peers at the sky. Something moving far away can't help but catch her eye. Luna tickles Franklin's nostrils to try and make him sneeze. Achoo! Bright blue flames shoot out his nose and lift them up with speed. They zoom up in the air at an exhilarating pace, through all the clouds and out again. They rocket into space. They pass shooting stars and spaceships, unsure which way to go. It's dark and cold and endless. Perhaps they should go home. But wait, Franklin's starting to remember this place from long ago. I recall that constellation and that galaxy. I used to fly here as a young dragon when I was 143. Luna, Franklin, and Neil Armstrong collide with the surface of the moon. There are craters full of libraries and glowing midnight flowers, glitter falling onto them from meteor showers. Hello, Franklin calls. His voice echoes on the air. All is quiet. All is silent. No dragons anywhere. They set off to explore through a forest of ghostly trees. They pass a milky ocean and swarms of sleepy bees. In the sand, they spy some footprints. Franklin hears a familiar song. Slowly he remembers. I think this is where I'm from. They hurry towards the music and stumble upon dozens of silver dragons with moon dust on their scales, playing board games and ice skating and reading fairy tales. Look, a human, yells a dragon. They're so scary, says another. Don't worry, Franklin jumps in. This is Luna. She's my friend. Franklin, is that you? They gasp. They hug him tight with glee, and Franklin's reunited with his long-lost family. We always hoped you'd visit. We're so glad that you're here. We sent letters using shooting stars. We thought you'd disappeared. Franklin tells his family about his home below, about all the different people and all the places you can go. Franklin's cousin teaches Luna how to sing dragon songs, how to play space hockey, and bake stardust scones. All together they share stories sitting beneath the stars. They giggle and take photographs. They talk for many hours about family trees, and they all agree this reunion has been such fun. They shouldn't wait 400 years to have another one. Luna's given lots of books so she can learn about the moon, and Franklin's cousin promises she'll come to see them very soon. When it's time to go home, they hug goodbye and hand Franklin a map. So when they want to visit, they can always travel back. That's a really fun one. Okay, we're going to wrap up some more adventures, this time the adventures of a cat, who you'll remember, named Zoom. We've read about him in Zoom at Sea and Zoom Away. And now we're going to read the last part of the story, Zoom Upstream. It was fall. Zoom was visiting his friend Maria. They were in her back garden, raking leaves and planting lily bulbs for spring. Zoom pruned the roses with his very own pruning shears. The sun was warm. Zoom stretched out on a lawn chair by the goldfish pond for a snooze. The telephone rang. "I'll get it," said Maria. Zoom woke up feeling chilly. The sky had clouded over. Maria was not there. Zoom followed her muddy boot prints to the kitchen. She had left him a hastily scribbled note. "It's the captain. Had to go. No time to lose." Uncle Roy, thought Zoom. What trouble is he in now? Zoom followed Maria's footsteps to the library. They ended at a bookcase. There was a light coming from a space on the shelf where a book had been. It lay on the table. Zoom climbed up onto the book and looked into the bookcase. "This must be the way," he said. At the back of the bookshelf, a flight of stairs spiraled down into darkness. The stairway was made entirely of books. Down and down the stairway curled. Zoom was a little bit frightened. Then he heard something that cheered him up, the sound of water lapping against stone. Zoom found himself on a levee by a dark river. There were old crates piled everywhere, dusty and cobwebby. He chose an empty one his size, found a stick for a paddle, and pushed himself out onto the water. If there's trouble, thought Zoom, Maria might need some help. Zoom dipped his paddle into the oily waters. The current pulled him along the river's winding course. The air grew warmer. He heard something croaking. Swoosh! Bats! He saw a log with eyes. Then Zoom's crate began to spin around and around, caught in the rapids, pulling him faster and faster. Whoosh! Zoom closed his eyes and hung on tight. Thump! He banged into a stone dock. He wasn't hurt. Carefully he climbed from his crate into a room aglow with torches. The walls were crawling with pictures, and all the pictures were of cats. There were cats on the ceiling, cats carved out of stone, their eyes twinkling jewels, and everywhere around him there were cloth-covered cat-like shapes. Mummies, thought Zoom. This must be Egypt. He had always wanted to go to Egypt, but where was the desert? Where were the pyramids? And most of all, where was the mighty Nile? The dark little river seemed to end at this room. Boom, boom, boom. Drums. Someone was coming. Zoom froze. At the end of the room, two enormous stone cats stood sentinel on either side of a huge stone slab. As Zoom watched, one of the stone cats raised its paw, slowly. Then there was a loud creaking and rumbling. The slab creaked open. A procession marched into the room. Cats in hats bearing a mummy on a litter. Bisso, bubastis, bastet, chanted the cat with the tallest hat. Bisso, bubastis, bastet, the other cats answered. They placed the mummy on the floor, and then boom, boom, boom. They were gone, just like that. The slab closed after them. Thud. That was close, whispered Zoom. He looked at the new mummy. It was much bigger than the other mummies, and the shape looked awfully familiar. Zoom felt queasy inside. Then the mummy moved. "Get me out of here," cried a muffled but very familiar voice. "Don't worry," said Zoom. "I'll get you out." His pruning shears were in his coat pocket. It didn't take him long to cut the mummy open. "Maria! Am I glad to see you," she said. Maria gave Zoom a big hug. Then she began to snoop around the room. Zoom's heart sank. "Are you looking for Uncle Roy?" he asked. "That's right," said Maria. Zoom stared into the gloom. None of the mummies moved. "I guess we're too late," he mumbled. Maria did not hear him. "Aha," she said, picking up something shiny from the cold stone floor. "A silver button." Zoom recognized it right away. "It's from Uncle Roy's captain's uniform," he said with dismay. "Right again," said Maria. Zoom had never felt so sad in his life. "I wonder which mummy he is," he said. To his surprise, Maria laughed. "Captain Roy, a mummy? I doubt it." "You mean," said Zoom, "he got away?" Maria nodded. "And he left us a clue," she said, holding up the button. Zoom jumped for joy. "We're on the right track," said Maria. "Now, if we could just get out of this catacomb." "I think I know the way," said Zoom. He walked to the end of the room to the stone sentinel cats. He pushed on the cat's paw with all his might. Finally, there was a loud creaking and rumbling. The slab opened. "Yahoo!" cried Maria. "Where now?" asked Zoom. "Look for buttons," said Maria. They found themselves in a cavernous hallway lined with towering, glowering cats whose eyes followed them as they hurried along. Zoom tried to keep his own eyes on the ground. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of the drums echoed off the walls. Were they behind or up ahead? Zoom couldn't tell. Then he saw silver, the second button. Maria found the third. Boom, boom, boom. Were the drums getting closer? Left, then right, Zoom and Maria followed the clues. 4, 5, 6, 7. Ah! Suddenly they burst out of the murky tomb onto a pier under a gentle Egyptian night. A rowboat awaited them, something silver on the seat glinting in the starlight. The last button, said Maria, as she and Zoom clambered on board. Maria took up the oars. Zoom made his way to the bow. Far ahead he could see a clipper sitting under a crescent moon. The cat ship, he cried. The rowboat sped out onto the wide black river, the mighty Nile. Zoom watched as the cat ship loomed nearer and nearer. He heard a concertina and someone singing. Then, ahoy, hurrah, halloo! And there was the dark side of the ship and a rope ladder, and reaching down with a smile on his face, a large yellow tomcat and a captain's hat. Uncle Roy. Welcome aboard, he said, and just in time for a bowl of grog. Zoom couldn't speak for smiling. We've got quite the trip ahead of us, said Roy. Where to? Asked Zoom. Upstream, said Captain Roy, to search for the source of the Nile. Are you game, my small friend? Yes, said Zoom. I really like that story. Hope you did too, and I hope we see you again next time we do this. Thanks for listening. Bye.